all, should I say. Welcome back to my channel. I hope that this video reaches you guys in great health and strength, filled with lots of love, joy, peace, and happiness, and all of the amazing and wonderful things that life has to offer. I pray that all is well with you and your families. If anyone that's watching me is in Texas, my thoughts and prayers are with you guys, given the storm that you just had and how much chaos and havoc it has caused. I pray that God will give you guys the strength to hold on and be stronger than you once was prior to the storm. All right. So I read this story yesterday in the newspaper, the Kaiser newspaper, about this toddler. Okay, I hope that I don't cry. I read that this toddler was murdered by her uncle for a pair of gold earrings. It's such a sad story. She was home with her siblings. Their dad went to work. He was a maintenance worker by day and a security guard by night, right? So he went to work. He left the baby, the 1-year-old baby, and her brother sleeping, and their eldest brother was up watching television. So they lived in a little shack in an area called Sophia in Guyana. For those of you who's watching and you're not Guyanese and you don't know where it is, right? It's an area in Georgetown. So according to what I read, the dad was at work. The brother, his 20-year-old brother, broke into his house, and he broke into the house, and the 10-year-old son woke up, right? And he saw his uncle in the house, and his uncle tried to throw him out the window, but he held on to his uncle for dear life, and his uncle put him back down, and the baby had gotten up. She was hiding behind her eldest brother, and the uncle turned to her and pulled her earring off of her ears and ripped her ear in the process. So she was crying, and he then took the baby and flung her out of the window into the muddy, swampy ground, and then he jumped out the window and dug a 3-foot hole with his hands and put that baby in the hole. She was still alive, and he put boards on her and left her there to die. Now, the two brothers that were home, one was 12 and one was 10, they were too petrified to come out because they thought that the uncle was going to come and hurt them as well. So they waited, and then they ran to the neighbor's house and told the neighbor what happened. And the neighbor ended up calling the dad and telling the dad he needs to come home right now. Something bad happened. When he got there, he saw the neighbors outside, and when he went to his yard, the dad dug his baby up with his bare hand out of that shallow grave that his brother dug and put his niece and his daughter in, and he picked up his baby, and by the time she was dead. They arrested the brother at his house, and he ended up telling them everything that he did, and he said that he was high. And also the dad, he said that his brother was just released out of prison, and he had stopped him from coming to his house because he was a thief. He was always thieving things. I am assuming that he did that because he had an anger towards his brother. And today I learned we had a guest preacher from India, and he touched on the topic of anger. And Jesus said, if you are angry with someone, you have practically committed murder. Now in Guyana, drugs and alcohol are two of the major substances that affects the family and affects society in a whole, in my opinion. For years, alcohol has been a major issue. It has caused many deaths. It has caused many homes to be broken up. It has caused many men to lose their jobs, and so they can't take care of their family because they become addicted to alcohol and to drugs. A lot of young people in Guyana are doing drugs. It starts with weed and then it moves into something else. Now, I am not a psychologist, psychiatrist, or anything like that. All of my thoughts and opinions are just that, thoughts and opinions. Some of you may agree, some of you may not agree, and I'm cool with that. I just hope and pray that what I have to say will resonate with someone and they will at least listen and try to make a change. You know, as I've said in many of my videos, these two substances have not affected me directly, and I thank God for that. I thank God that I grew up in a home where my mom was not an alcoholic or she did any type of drugs or nicotine or anything like that. Or my dad, even though I didn't grow up with my dad, I know that my dad was never into alcohol or drugs or anything like that. He's very serious about not doing that, as a matter of fact. So God has blessed me with that. However, my mom, she grew up in a home where her dad was an alcoholic. But on the weekend, you know, he would, whatever, he was a fisherman, and whatever little he made, he would give it to my grandma, and the rest that he had, he would go and gamble and drink out that, and then come to my grandma to take back the money that he gave to her, the little bit that he gave to take care of the family. He would come and take that back to go and drink. And so it affected my mom, but thank God for his mercy and his grace, he saved my mom at a very young age, so she didn't turn out bad. She made her mistakes along the way, but she trusted God along the way. So I'm very fortunate, and I thank God for that. However, there are many people who are not as fortunate as I am. There's many young people now who grew up in homes where their dads are severe alcoholics. He would come home and he would beat their moms. He might end up killing the mom. There are countless stories in the newspapers that you would read of men who are violent towards their wives and their children, and some of them end up killing these women. And when you do find out, they were under the influence of something. It could be alcohol, it could be either marijuana, it could be a combination of both. And when they come down from that high, then they're sorry. And I don't understand why the government officials, the elected people, they're not doing more to curb this situation. I don't understand it. I really think that we really need to crack down on this. I think it's an oxymoron to say don't drink and drive, yet you promote drinking. I don't get it. I don't understand why they would have stag beer competitions. Or when you listen to the radio, well, when I used to listen to the radio, and they used to have like, oh, we have this stag beer competition. If you do this, you can win a case of stag, you can win a case of this, you can win a case of Mackin, you can, like, these alcoholic beverages. And when there's a vehicular accident and it's caused by a drunk driver, you cry out and say, oh, we have to, people, y'all gotta stop drinking and driving. I don't understand it. If you want people to stop drinking and driving, get rid of alcohol, because they're not going to stop. No matter how much you cry and say stop doing it, they're not going to do it. So what you got to do is you got to know, get rid of it. But you know they're not going to get rid of it because the alcohol industry is a billion-dollar industry and people love money, and the love of money is the root of all evil. So as long as they're getting the money, even if the substance is destroying the population, they're going to cry out how concerned they are, but they're not going to get rid of it, because when they get rid of it, they're getting rid of the money. Every time a person drinks and gets intoxicated, they are paying homage to the god of alcohol, common G, lowercase g god, which is Bacchus. Every single time you drink or someone drinks, and whether they're young or old, whether it's casual or not, you are not glorifying God. You are glorifying the god of alcohol, and that's a spirit. So that is why there's so much dysfunction, there's so much chaos in the nations, because we keep giving to this god. It's like you throwing your family to this common G god. And I really pray that God would raise up someone who would be for him, whose life would be sold out for him, that there would be a leader and they would carry out the will of God, no matter how much the people will cry out and say, oh, you're doing this to us and you're doing that to us. In the long run, you're going to be grateful for it. I know that the times that we're living in, it's very dangerous. We live in perilous times. And I believe that we are in the last of the last days, because when you look around and you see all that's happening in the world, the earthquakes in diverse places, the floods, the storms, look at what happened in Houston a week ago, look at what's happening in India, look at what happened in Sierra Leone about 2 weeks ago, and the thousands of people that lost their lives, lost their belongings and everything. I believe, because I read the word of God and I believe the word of God, and I believe that things are not going to get better. It's going to get worse, and the worse that it gets, the closer we are to the return of the Messiah, of Jesus. Jesus is coming back for his bride, his unblemished bride. But I believe that we have, with every day that God allows us to see, every day that he wakes us up, it's an opportunity to get right with him. For the leaders of the nations, it's an opportunity to lead the people in the right way to God, point the people to the Lord. But we have leaders who their God is their money, and they're so prideful about their leadership and their accolades and their accomplishments and all of these things, which are fastly fading away. So they don't care. When something heinous happens, everyone will get so sad and, oh, we got to do better, and somebody got to do this. We need a better leader. We need a better this. We need a better that. And they won't turn to the Lord, And before you know it, things go back to normal. And this alcohol, I think that they need to get rid of alcohol pronto. I might be one out of many, but that is what I think. If you want the society to get better, you have to remove the things that's breaking up the family. Alcohol thing has been a major problem in Guyana for years, way before I was born, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse. Recently, a 19-year-old girl and her boyfriend, they went to they usually would have this hangout every Thursday in Pleasant, and they were on their way home at 3 a.m. in the morning, and they were knocked down by a drunk driver, and both of them lost their lives, and the drunk driver is still alive. Okay, he's still alive. I think that they need to get rid of it, or they need to have stronger, more stern penalties for people who drink and drive. you need to, because you're being irresponsible. You are not adhering to the laws of the land. So you gotta go, because people, and it's always like that, the people that drink and get behind the wheel of a vehicle and cause an accident, nothing happens to them. They might come out with a little scratch or whatever, but they got their life. But then the accident that they caused, they might have killed a whole bunch of people, maim a whole bunch of people. Some people are scarred for life because of a irresponsible person, a disobedient person. So and the drugs too. A lot of young people in Guyana are doing drugs. They're mixing their drugs now. I don't know if they have opioids and PCPs and stuff like that in Guyana as yet, but I'm pretty sure with the way things are going, I'm pretty sure it would make its way down there, and it's going to be another issue. And I think that they need to get rid of that, get rid of the marijuana. Marijuana is legal in Guyana. I think that they need to make it illegal. Any type of substance that can alter a person's persona, that could make you do something that normally when you're in your right mind you wouldn't do, they need to get rid of it. The guy who killed it, he killed his niece, a 1-year-old baby. I read that story and I cried, as if that little child was my child or my family. That's how much it hit me, hit home to my heart. 20-year-old high and did such a heinous thing to a little baby who couldn't even defend herself if she wanted to. That story is enough for the government officials to say we are going to make marijuana possession illegal. Anyone that is found with this thing will be charged, will face the law, will face the full blunt of the law. Fact that smoking makes your lips black when your lip is supposed to look normal. The fact that it's affecting your outer appearance, it tells you that this thing isn't good for your body. I remember growing up in Guyana, my neighbor, they used to smoke this thing, and when I would open my window, it would be to their backyard. So if they're smoking in the backyard and the breeze was blowing, it would blow it in my direction, and that thing stinks so bad. I would have to like close the window back. Whenever I smell it, it gives me an instant headache, and it's secondhand. Alcohol ages you faster. Why is it that when you eat healthy and you take care of your body, you drink water when you're thirsty, and you eat healthy foods and stuff like that, you look, it presents itself in like your skin glows, your skin is tighter, you look younger, you look more preserved. So I know I'm rambling. It's a whole lot that I got on my mind, you know, but it really saddens me. It really saddens me to see what these two things, the amount of chaos and havoc that it's wreaking in lives who open themselves up to it. And people are preaching, oh, you know, don't drink and drive, don't do this, don't do that, don't do it, but then you're still promoting it. Abstain. When you have shows, you have, you know, these stands that are there that's selling alcohol beverages to people, and these same people, some of these same people they don't have designated drivers. They're irresponsible. They're going to get behind the wheel of a car and they're going to drive, and who knows what's going to happen. We gotta do better. We know better. We gotta do better. We really gotta do better. We really gotta do better. Instead of that brother, you know, his brother should have been able to say, oh, you know, I gotta go to work, because he's a working dad. I gotta go to work, you know, I want you to come and watch the kids for me, and you know, just be with them. No, he ended up killing his niece because he was high. Because he was high on something that they made legal. I gotta go. God bless you. Bye.
Number one, it has no harmful effects. Number two, total abstinence does not murder innocent people. Number three, total abstinence causes no loss to industry. Number four, total abstinence will not destroy families. Number five, there'll be no loss of health with total abstinence. Number six, total abstinence is not contrary to the law of love. Number seven, total abstinence will not harm the one who practices it or anybody else. And so what is the mastery of the bottle? Number one, if you don't drink, don't start. Don't start. I was up late at night, very late at night, dealing with a dear friend of mine who I'll call Johnny. Now, I'd been and prayed with Johnny and worked with Johnny and sobered Johnny so many times. I loved him. I witnessed to him. I prayed for him. I worked over him. One night, late at night, he was afraid he was going to die. Delirium tremens. I was there. I needed rest. I needed to go to bed, but I couldn't leave Johnny. I sat with him, prayed with him. Finally, I said, Johnny, help me, Johnny. You know, I preach to a lot of young people. Johnny, what would you tell about liquor? It seemed as though he sobered in an instant. He fastened his eyes on me, and I'm going to tell you what he told me to tell you if you're a young person. He said, preacher, tell him never to take the first drink. Now, you going to listen to that? Here's a man whose life was ruined. He died an alcoholic. As far as I know, he died and went to hell because it had such a grip on him. He could not release his grip and turn to the Savior. At least he would not. He said, preacher, tell them never to take that first drink. Don't do it, folks. Don't do it, kids. When they get out, when they're experimenting, somebody wants to buy a six-pack. Somebody wants to buy a bottle. Somebody wants to spike the punch. Just don't do it. Oh, I wish you listened to me. I wish.